held captive in timeless lore. Island in your eyes, paradise, calling you, calling me, Hawaii.
In 1866, there was a big outbreak of leprosy in the Hawaiian Islands, also known as Hansen's disease. There was no cure for the disease, so the king decided to quarantine all the patients here on Molokai to prevent its spread. And he chose that finger of land off our nose called Kalapapa, which means much level land. It's surrounded by water on 3 sides. A steep cliff on the 4th side, it was a natural prison without walls. The only person that would take care of the lepers was a Catholic priest, Father Damien from Belgium. He signed up for 2 years, stayed for 16 years. And he eventually succumbed to leprosy himself at the age of 45. He battled with the Catholic Church and Hawaiian government over supplies for the patients. When he first arrived, he was surprised that they didn't even have beds or buildings. They slept on the floor underneath trees. He finally got the government to agree upon 2 shipments of supplies per year by boat. And in between those shipments, boat captains would arrive with more patients that were taken forcibly from their homes and families, rich or poor, as soon as they were diagnosed with the disease. The boat captains were also scared to death of the disease. They wouldn't even come in the port. They'd come alongside the island, push the patients overboard into the heavy surf with their belongings, forcing them to swim in. A lot of the patients died swimming in, trying to save their belongings at the same time. Some people say that the lucky ones dying of leprosy is a slow, agonizing death. A bacterial disease eats away at your cartilage and extremities, very deforming. Over 8,000 patients died on this little peninsula. They were triple stacked in the cemeteries. Fast forward to 1943, they finally found a cure, but the existing patients were told they had to wait an additional 20 years before they're allowed to leave the island. 12 patients still choose to live here on their own free will. They can leave anytime they want. They're still sponsored by the government here. Their ages run from 65 to 97. And you can visit Kalapapa now as a national park. You got to be at least 16 years old and accompanied by an official tour guide. Opening scenes for Jurassic Park 3 were filmed off our left here, where they're parasailing in front of some steep cliffs. The boat ran aground on these shallow rocks, started to sink, so they cut themselves loose from the boat. They parachuted into the island, and that's where all the fun began. This is the Wailau Valley. It's the main crater of the island of Molokai. Extinct volcano will not erupt again. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to ask. Don't be shy.
did you say live here?
8,000 people. Of course, this is not the populated side.
Is there any hotels here?
Not any longer. Some bed and breakfasts. There might be one small one back in town.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better, and some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their
How long have you been doing this?
I've been flying for 29 years. Here, 13 years.
Seems like a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Some are dead and some are living, but in my life I love them all. But of all these friends and lovers,
On this side of the island, there's some very shallow reefs. You're gonna walk offshore a quarter mile and still only be knee deep in water. And this is also where you can buy a house on the water for about $400,000. There's quite a few ancient Hawaiian fish ponds.
has something new, though I know I'll never ever lose affection.
The island off our 1 o'clock is Lanai.
That went before.
Recently purchased by the CEO of Oracle Computers, Larry Ellison, for $550 million. He was looking for a winter base for his America's Cup yachting team.
I've loved you more, though I know I'll never ever lose.
About 3,000 people live on that island. They pretty much all work for the two major five-star hotels.
That went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them.
What's the name of that island?
Lanai.
I've loved you more. In my life, I love you more.
I'll keep an eye out for whales through here.
What kind of whales are down here?
They're Arctic humpback whales. And they come from the cold Arctic Ocean every year, 3,500 miles. They start arriving in December and leave totally by June.
Do they breach?
Breach? Yeah. And the purpose is to breed and to give birth in our warm waters here. You look for big splashes in the water where they're either flipping their tails, jumping out of the water,